It's time to work on the chandelier in our Pumpkins and Potions quilt. It's time to work on the cute chandelier on page 30. I have the background fabric that's been fused with interfacing on the back. I have the batting and the little piece of material for the chandelier that also is interfaced on the back. This will use something out of the embellishment kit, but this will be put on at the very end when the quilt is done. Let's get started. I was getting ready to stitch the chandelier block out, and I saw that the center of the chandelier is quite small and has lots of tiny little curves and is fairly detailed. So I thought this would be a perfect opportunity to cut that applique shape out with my ScanNCut. I've logged into canvasworkspace.brother.com, and this is the page that comes up. I will click on My Projects. This is where all the projects that you've made, if you save them, will be. I will select New, and now I need to upload my SVG file that came with my Kimberbell Pumpkins and Potions quilt. If I go to this SVG icon and choose File, I need to find where my file is kept. I will go to my desktop and I will open my embroidery file, and I have a Kimberbell folder, and then I have the Pumpkins and Potions files. Let me open this a little bit, and they have an electronic cutting file that has everything in the quilt that is available as an SVG to cut. I will find the chandelier and then hit OK. This is a little piece that I will be cutting out for my applique. You can bring as many as you would like into this and then take it to your machine, and I will do a video on adding more than one, but right now I am just going to take this one design. So I have the piece that I need. I am going to download, and you have two options. You can download it to your computer. I am going to go ahead and just transfer it to my machine. I will click the cloud, and it will send it wirelessly to my machine. Now let's go to the machine, and I can open this file up and cut my applique piece. After I send my design over, I will come to my machine, and when you open it up, these are the options that you have to choose from. This pattern right here means patterns that are in the machine. Scan is when you want to put something on your mat and scan and use that to cut. We are going to retrieve data. I sent it through the cloud. And now you can see right here is my little chandelier piece that I want to cut out. So now I am going to put my mat in and scan where my material is. I will make sure that the right side is up against this little ledge. I will choose this middle button that looks like a mat with grids, and that will load it, and it'll do a little bit of scanning, and then it's ready to go. Now once I've loaded the mat, I need to go to this middle button, which is scanning. It's a little mat with a scanning bar. I will choose that and choose start, and it will scan my mat. It's going to scan to see what I have placed on my mat so that I can place my design over the piece of material. And I like to move my material around. I don't always put it up in this left corner. I try to move it around. That's what's great about the ScanNCut. so you can use your mat and not just use one area. So you can see that right here, that's my fabric. So I need to just select this and drag it and center it over that little piece. Now, let's say that you need to do more minute positioning than you can with either your finger or the little stylus. There's also a way to do that. So let's say that I needed to move this a little bit and just very tiny amounts. I will come to these arrows, and these arrows now I can move it one click at a time, and I can really get it positioned. That helps if you don't have a huge piece of fabric or paper, let's say you're working on, and you need to really do small movements. Then select OK. So there's one additional thing that I need to do for the Kimberbell SVGs, and that is to make it a tiny bit bigger. I am going to go to Object, Edit, and then I will choose this first little square with the arrow. And now I can just do one click to make this one click bigger. And if this is white, that means that both the height and the width, the whole entire object, will be increased. If I were to select that, I could do just the height or just the width. Of course, that would stretch it, and that's not what we want. So I am going to make sure that that's white, and I am just going to click one, doesn't matter, and just one click up. This makes the fabric ever so slightly bigger, and I think it just helps when you are doing SVGs. Then I will hit OK, OK again, and OK again, and OK one more time. Now I need to hit select because it wants to know what we want to do with this. Well, we want to cut. So here's my piece, and we know that it's over the fabric. So I am going to hit start. Okay, I paused really quick because I was thinking that my piece of fabric is pretty little, and this is just the regular standard mat, and it is not super sticky. They do have a fabric mat that is very sticky to help hold fabric. So I decided to just add a little bit of masking tape just to hold that piece. So I'm back just to the same place where I will select the cut. Again, the blade will come and it will test the thickness of the mat, and then it will go to the fabric and test the depth, and so it will know how thick to cut. And I will hit start. Now, because I'm using just a standard mat, I probably don't need this to scrape it up, but you might need to give it a little help, but I think I'm going to be okay. So I'm going to take this tape off. And there we go. I'm going to unload the mat by hitting this little button up here that looks like a little grid. And then if it's a very sticky mat, you just want to be careful not to rip it up. You kind of want to scrape it like a pizza cutter, like a pizza spatula, because you don't want to get it out of shape. But there is our little chandelier piece. Now, the reason I decided to start doing this is because this piece This whole piece will be put over the chandelier, and then just like our applique that we've had to do before, we would have to cut out with scissors, which is fine. It's doable. It just takes more time. But look at this, is all ready to go, and I will place it once it does the tack down. So I'll have that ready to go when I start my chandelier. I will go to embroidery and to the USB, and I will choose the quilting bundle. And this block uses the Halloween 9, block by block, and I need the 6 by 8 size. And I will hit set. Now I will go to add, back to the USB and to the embroidery files folder, and I will open the chandelier and select set, and then embroidery. Now the last hoop that I used was smaller, so I need to go up to settings, and I need to change this. I will change it to 8 by 12. I have a 7 by 12 in my machine, but I don't have a 7 by 12 in the settings. I will select OK. Now I will move my design all the way up and to the left, and that's just to save on stabilizer at the top, since I still have my roll of stabilizer attached to my hoop. And I move it all the way to the left to just help compensate for the fact that I have a 7 by 12 that I will be using, but I have it listed as an 8 by 12 in the settings. And now I'm ready to go. I have my batting and my fabric placed, and there are a few steps I am going to skip. I will go to this plus minus needle. This second step is the tack down of the batting, and I have my batting cut to size, and so I am going to use a sound arrow and skip that step. The next step is the placement of the fabric, and that placement line is only 1/4 of an inch past the batting, and our fabric is much larger, so I'm also going to skip this step. Now I will do the tack down of the fabric. After I placed the fabric that I cut with my ScanNCut, I went ahead and ran the fabric tack down. You can see by the picture that it barely catches the edge because our cutout is the same size. And that is one reason I elected to make it just slightly bigger so that the fabric tack down would catch some of that. I also slowed my machine down to the very lowest speed just to make sure that it didn't scoot the little piece of fabric and get it off of its placement line. As it gets ready to do the final satin stitch outline, you can see that there is a stitching line on the outside of our cut fabric as well as on the inside. This will allow the satin stitching to completely cover the raw edge. This last step, which is the placement line, is not stitched out. If I would have done this in software and merged these two designs, I would have just deleted that. And that's just used in the digitizing process to be able to center the chandelier when it comes into the machine.